Thanks for watching. I'm Margot Kinberg, and this is In the Spotlight, a closer look at a crime novel. Writing as Emma Lathen, Mary Jane Latsis and Martha Hennesler created a popular series featuring banking vice president John Putnam Thatcher. The series did have influence, even though it might not be the first series you think of when you think of crime fiction. But let's take a look at it today and turn the spotlight on Emma Lathen's Going for the Gold. The setting is the 1980 Winter Olympics Games in Lake Placid, New York. The Sloan Guaranty Trust has the contract for banking services in Olympic Village, which means they'll be handling transactions for all the athletes and staff and hundreds of thousands of visitors and more. Sloan Vice President John Putnam Thatcher is at Lake Placid to oversee the operation and make sure it goes smoothly. It doesn't. First, the ski jumping competition is tragically interrupted when French skier Yves Bisson is shot by a sniper. As you can imagine, there's pandemonium, and there are comparisons actually to the 1972 tragedy at the Munich Games. The police take over immediately and begin to investigate. They look at Bisson's activities, relationships, rivals, and so on. Then, the Sloan's Lake Placid manager, Roger Hathaway, informs Thatcher that the bank has uncovered a traveler's check fraud scheme. It swindled the bank out of $500,000. Thatcher starts the process of following the counterfeit checks to see who's been passing them. He finds that several of them have been presented by various athletes who brought them into the country. At first, though, that doesn't give him much information about who set up the scheme. Are these athletes innocent dupes, or is one of them responsible for the counterfeiting? Thatcher's sifting through the information he gets when Swiss skier Tilly Lovengaard is drugged just before she competes in the slalom. She barely makes it down the slopes and almost ends up in a terrible accident. Now the police and the International Olympics Committee have to work out whether the attacks on the skiers is the work of someone targeting skiers, or whether it has something to do with the counterfeit check scheme, or whether it's a personal attack. Thatcher works to minimize the damage to the bank, and in the process uncovers the truth about the fraudulent checks and the person responsible for the murders. In the end, we find out how the scheme operated and how that links up to the other crimes. So, what holds this novel together? What are some of the elements we see in it? First, the setting and context are really important elements in the novel. Most of the story takes place at the Winter Games, so readers get a sense of what the competition is like, how the athletes prepare, and so on. There's a sense of suspense too, and perhaps even a bit of claustrophobia with so many people gathered in Olympic Village. In the background too is a major snowstorm that's developing. The weather adds to the tension since it closes roads and makes it impossible to leave the village. Fans of the John Putnam Thatcher series will notice that this one doesn't take place at the Sloan's headquarters, as many of the novels do. Still, the bank is very much a presence, and so is Thatcher. The team behind Emma Lathen were an economic analyst and an attorney, and their financial expertise comes through in the novel as Thatcher follows the leads in the counterfeit check scheme. Readers see how travelers' checks work, or did in the early 1980s. How banks become aware of such schemes, and so on. Going for the Gold is a whodunit, howdunit that gives readers a look at how banking and travel worked at the time the book was written. It features an atmosphere of suspense and tension with the backdrop of the Olympic Games and that sporting kind of feel, and a financial vice president who's determined to follow the money. This has been In the Spotlight. I'm Margot Kinberg. Thanks for watching.